my distinguished colleagues in the House, it is my privilege today to sponsor Committee Report number 30 on House Bill number 6540, entitled An Act Restructuring the Energy Regulatory Commission, amending for the purpose Section 38, 39, 40, 41, 43, 44, and 46, and repealing Section 42 of Republic Act 9136, otherwise known as the Electric Power Industry Reform Act of 2001. A bill that strengthens the Energy Regulatory Commission, or the ARC, so that it may finally become the independent, transparent, effective, and responsive regulator envisioned more than 2 decades ago under the EPIRA. Energy is the lifeblood of every Filipino and the driving force behind our economy. If we want a future with reliable, secure, affordable energy, we must demand that the institutions guiding our energy sector are not just competent, but truly independent and ready to face tomorrow's challenges. This bill is our opportunity to make that happen. It gives ARC the authority, resources, safeguards needed to protect consumers and ensure a fair, stable energy market. Our nation's progress, economic growth, social advancement, and sustainable development depends on having a reliable energy. Yet, we continue to face delays, high cost, and uncertainty that hinder investments and slow progress. These challenges are not insurmountable. They are the result of systems and processes that no longer serve us. This measure addresses those issues. It transforms the ARC into a professionally diverse 9-member body with strict qualification standards and expertise. It enforces independence by banning commissioners and their relatives from holding financial interest in power companies or working for them during and after their term. These safeguards guarantee that every decision made is made for public interest. This measure also gives ARC the resources and capacity it needs to be truly effective. It allows the ARC to retain 50% of its own revenues, capped at 750 million pesos, to upgrade equipment, strengthen operations, and improve personnel compensation, ensuring the agency can attract and keep top talent. It mandates a globally benchmark training program backed by a dedicated unit and guaranteed funding. With this, ARC will not merely keep pace but lead in the technical competence. Most importantly, the measure transforms how the ARC serves consumers. It requires clear procedure for recognizing legitimate consumer groups, mandates regular forums where people can voice concerns, and strengthen the mechanisms for handling complaints. To promote timely and predictable regulation, the bill streamlines proceedings. Routine submissions are processed quickly, standard power supply agreements follow summary procedures, and major issues undergo 4 hearings within the set timelines. This protects consumers from costly delays and enforces real accountability through scaled penalties, potential refunds to affected consumers, and stronger enforcement tools to deter market abuse. Mr. Speaker, esteemed colleagues, this reform is about building a stronger, more effective, and responsive ARC, one that ensures fair rates, fosters competition, and earns the public trust for a secure energy future. This humble representation finally closes by most respectfully moving for the approval of House Bill 6540. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Magandang hapon po.
Magandang hapon. So, marami po tayong mga tanong, mga concerns. it is on record historically na inutulan po at tutol pa rin ang Makabayan Black sa IPIRA, no, na nagsisilbing pinaka-framework ng power industry sa Pilipinas. So, ang pangako nito ay sa pamamagitan ng privatization ng energy sector ay bababa raw ang presyo ng kuryente sa Pilipinas. Pero alam naman natin lahat na kabaliktaran ng nangyari, tumaas ang presyo at hanggang ngayon, ilang dekada matapos maaprubahan ng IPIRA ay palaging sinasabi pa rin na pinakamataas o kabilang sa pinakamataas sa Asia ang presyo ng kuryente sa Pilipinas. No, nakakaapekto hindi lamang sa mga ordinaryong consumer, pero kahit mga negosyante, yan ang hinaing, di ba? Whether local or foreign investor, sabi nila, ang isang dahilan kung bakit hindi sila makatodo dito sa Pilipinas ay napakamahal ng kuryente. So napakalaga po ng papel ng ERC, no, na supposedly ito yung may pangunahing mandato para bantayan o i-regulate ang energy sector, no. So kaya po sa ganyang framework ay tatanong po tayo, may ilang mga katanungan sa proposed amendments dito, no? Of course, ang major dito ay gagawin ng parang kahalip na gagawin ng isang independent, accountable, quasi-judicial, and rule-making regulatory body ang ERC. Para maunawaan po ng lahat, ano po ba ibig sabihin nito? Hindi na siya magiging isang attached agency? Ano po ba ang mga implication nito? Paano siya mababago sa kasalukuyang kaayusan, Mr. Speaker? What is the essential change that is being proposed as far as the ERC is concerned?
Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleague, this bill do not say that immediately papababa natin yung ating mga power rates. Ang ina-address natin dito, yung cause of delays, yung nakita na natin for more than 2 decades, 24 years exactly, na yung ERC, napakabagal ho umaksyon. Okay, gusto mo, bigyan kita ng example, Mr. Speaker, yung Palawan, last year, 19th Congress pa, nagkamali lang yung Board of Directors isang DU, na yung kanilang CSP hindi tukma doon sa proseso, na hindi na pinaabil kaagad yung portion, hindi naman lahat ng Palawan, portion ng Palawan, na hindi maka-access sa UCMA dahil palpak nga yung CSP na nagawa. Bago na lang ngayon na may bagong commissioner sa ARC, kaya medyo napabilis ng konti. Ayun, nakausap namin, kasama dito sana yung mga ganyang pangyayari, Mr. Speaker, para mapabilis. O ngayon, yung mga kababayan ko sa Palawan, distinguished colleague, makakatamasa na ng 1 billion refund dahil medyo naatasan na ng ERC na i-refund yung kataas. Pinakamataas ka. And yet kami nagsusupply ng gas papunta sa Luzon. Alam mo ba, distinguished colleague, Mr. Speaker, ang kuryente sa Palawan, 17. Bawa naman kayo. Mr. Speaker, thank you. 17.
Okay, Mr. Speaker, so, parang ang kabuuang layunin daw nitong mga panukalang amendments ay para maging mapalakas ang ERC, mapabilis yung mga proseso nito, and among others, ang isa sa pagpapalakas nito para maging independent, accountable, rule-making regulatory body ito, dadagdagan yung membro, ano? Dati 5, ngayon, ito ay magiging
Siyam na lang, Mr. Speaker.
siyam na po, siyam. Okay, siyam na commissioners, including the chair. Okay. Dito po sa titignan natin yung proposed bill. Ito po ay page 4. Proposed section 3, proposed amendment to section 38. Sa page 4 po. Una, merong panukala kaugnay sa budget. In addition to its yearly appropriation under the General Appropriations Act, the ERC shall be allowed to use for the following year 50% of its revenues generated from the collection of fees, assessments, licenses, and other charges, no? With a maximum of 750 million pesos annually. Tama po.
Originally, Mr. Speaker.
Yes. Ang tanong po rito, ano pa ba yung mga fees, assessments? In other words, ano ba itong mga, could you elaborate? Could the sponsor elaborate, Mr. Speaker, ano ba itong mga pinanggagalingan ng revenues? What are these fees, assessments, and so on that that make up the revenues of the ERC? Ano po nanggagaling yan at para ano?
Mr. Speaker, doon po sa appropriation, kinap natin yung, although the bill says that 50% of their revenues, their fines, their penalties, magagamit nila 50%, but linagyan natin ng cap, Mr. Speaker, linagyan natin ng cap na 750 million. Originally, yung original budget talaga per ipira, 150 lang yan. Kaya lang nagpapa-augment sila sa GAA. Kaya lumaki ng lumaki hanggang last year, 877 million nga yung kanilang budget. So, by giving them the autonomy to use 50% doon sa kikitain nila, kasi lumaki ngayon yung body. Originally, 5 lang sila, isang chairman, 4 na commissioner. O ngayon, ginawa nating 9 para maging 3 division. So, dati, ang quorum, 3 lang. Ngayon, magka-quorum sila 5 sa inbank. So, yung gastos na kung malaki ang kikitain ng ERC, hindi naman lahat mapupunta kasi linagyan natin ng cap, up to 750 lang magagamit nila. So, therefore, 750, halos katumbas lang yun sa ginagamit nila last year. 877 sila last year.
Okay. Mr. Speaker, ginoong sponsor, presumably, ano po ang rationale kung bakit sa halip na ang buong budget ng ERC bilang isang regulatory body ay pinopondohan ng gobyerno, bakit po binibigyan ng poder ngayon o ng kapangyarihan ang ERC na gumamit mula sa kinikita pa niya. So, at ang kikitain na ito ay manggagaling mismo sa sektor, presumably sa sektor na kanyang i-regulate. Diba? So, in what way does this promote or strengthen the independence or autonomy of the ERC as a regulatory body? Ano pong explanation?
Explanation po niyan, originally, pag meron silang gustong i-refund, matagal pa, dadaan pa sa proseso. Ngayon, dahil quasi-judicial na sila, pagkatapos kung matapos nila yung adjudication sa judicial body at gusto nilang ma-refund yung decision nila, kaagad magagamit nila yung pondo na nasa kanila na. Kaya hindi, pinapabilis natin ang refund process. Mr. Speaker.
Okay, so nagre-raise po tayo ng concern doon no, na sa halip, ang isa pong pagtiyak ng independence ng isang regulatory body ay na hindi siya matatali sa mga interes ng mga korporasyon na kanyang nire-regulate ay tiyakin na sapat ang pondo nito mula sa sarili niyang, mula sa pondo mismo ng taxpayers o ng gobyerno. So, kaya po, meron lang tayong pag-question dun sa provision na ito. No? Next concern, Mr. Speaker, would be Section 4, yung composition and qualification requirements of the members of the commission. Sabi nga kanina, expanded na yung membership, naging 8 na. Okay, tapos, may mga expanded criteria and qualifications na nilalatag dito para sa chairperson at saka para sa mga commissioners. Okay, so, ang isang sabi po rito, in terms of the qualifications, natural-born citizens, residents of the Philippines, good moral character, 45 years of age, recognized probity, competence, etc. Okay? With extensive familiarity in any of the following fields: energy, law, economics, finance, commerce, engineering. Ito po yung concern natin. With at least 10 years of actual and active experience in their respective fields of expertise, and in generation, transmission, distribution, and/or retail supply operations of the Philippine electric power industry. So in particular, we question, bakit po merong ganito, no? So, hindi ba kasasapat na may expertise in the various fields, energy, law, economics, etc. Kailangan din may 10 years of actual experience in the industry itself. Because in other words, di pwedeng ekonomista ka, eksperto kang ekonomista, pero kung wala ka namang experience, actual experience in the industry, hindi ka qualified. Okay. On the one hand, it seems reasonable, mas maganda kung ekonomista na may experience with the industry. On the other hand, hindi po ba problema yun na yung regulator kailangan nanggaling din sa industriya? Ibig sabihin, insider din. No? So, ekonomista, insider, lawyer, insider. Ibig sabihin, dala na niya o bit-bit na yung mga interest ng industriya na dapat niyang nire-regulate. So yan po ang concern natin. Bakit po meron pang ganong qualification? With at least 10 years of experience in the industry itself. In other words, ito nga yung problema, yung tinatawag na revolving door. Hindi ba, Mr. Speaker, na ayun, nasa industriya ka, kumikita, yun ang pangunahing layunin mo, tapos susunod yan, o punta ka sa ERC, ikaw naman mag-regulate. Kaya maki-question na tuloy, independent ka pa talaga, galing ka rin dun sa industriya Ano po yun, Mr. Speaker?
Kaya nga, Mr. Speaker, dati-dati, 35 years old lang yung edad na requirement natin. Ginawa natin yan, 45 na ngayon. And the expertise is not limited to accounting, finance, but kung mayroon kang experience din sa power generation, power transmission, pwede kang mag-apply dito, pwede kang matanggap. Ngunit kung ini-insinuate, Mr. Speaker, ay hindi dapat galing sa power sector. Kaya nga nilagyan natin magandang sweldo, kasi kung doon yan sa power sector, at saka we bar the new commissioner or the member of the ARC commissioners to represent or to practice. So, isa yun, safeguard. Hindi natin sila inaalaw. At saka pag yung termino nila na 7 years, pag katapos nila ng service sa ARC, bawal din sa kanila mag-abogado or mag-apply sa isang kumpanya para to represent them sa ARC. Pinagbawal natin yun para walang masabi. Halimbawa, yung commissioner na nag-apply, galing sa Meralco, nag-early retirement siya sa Meralco, Nag-apply siya, natanggap siya. Age 50 siya. E di meron pa siya kung 7 years, 57. That does not bar the ERC from accepting yung galing sa power sector na mayroong enough knowledge doon sa power generation, distribution, and transmission. Naglagay tayo ng mga safeguard. Kaya if you read the bill further, the title is to become independent. Parang autonomous. Parang hindi siya dependent doon sa padrino niya. Katulad ng mga power companies na malalaki na naglalagay ng mga padrino sa IRC, yun po ang hahandaan natin na hindi mangyari na hindi nanggagaling doon sa mga big business ang nasa ARC, Mr. Speaker. Madam Speaker.
Well, Madam Speaker, dito pa lamang sa komposisyon ng komisyon, dahil ginagawa pong requirement na kailangan manggaling sa industriya yung commissioner. Hindi po sapat na ikaw ay isang batikang ekonomista o ikaw ay isang eksperto sa energy or competition law and economics or whatever, na ikaw ay isang batikang engineer, industrial engineer or electrical engineer or whatever, pero kailangan pa na galing ka rin sa industriya, nag-practice ka sa industriya. Ibig sabihin nun, na naging empleyado ka ng mga power generation companies, kailangan nagtrabaho ka sa Aboitiz, sa SMC or whatever. Yung mga kumpanya na yan. Rekisito na po ngayon, kailangan lahat ng mga commissioner ng ERC nagtrabaho doon. So, rather than a formula for greater independence of the ERC, ang sinasabi po natin dito ay lalo pong mapapahigpit ang capture, yung tinatawag na regulatory capture, yung regulator mo galing na po mismo sa industriya, Madam Speaker. Kaya dito pa lamang po ay matindi na po ang pagtutol natin sa proposal. Ito, di ba? Naging concern na nga yung halimbawa, appointment ng Energy Secretary. Okay, sino nga appoint na Energy Secretary? I'm not saying yan yung nangyari, yung kasalukuyan, pero i-appoint yung dating tao ni Aboitiz o tao ni ganito, tao ni ganon. Diba? Rason or what? So, ngayon pati sa ERC, sige, political appointment. Yung cabinet, ultimately, decision ng presidente yan. Pero ito, ERC, supposedly regulator. Ngayon, requirement na. Kailangan galing mismo sa industriya ang magiging commissioner. So, red flag po, Madam Speaker. Okay.
Madam Speaker, distinguished colleague, kaya nga dito sa batas, ginagawa natin silang independent. The moment they take their oath na ako ay magiging isang commissioner, dapat pagserbihan ko yung oath of office ko. Kaya kung maaari, kung mayroon man siyang koneksyon doon sa Meralco noong araw, dapat completely detached na yun. Hindi naman natin sinasabi na lahat ng commissioner dito nanggagaling sa power sector. Meron ding abogado, meron ding economist, merong accountant, kasi ang pagproposeso ng lahat ng mga dokumento sa ARC, hindi lang naman tungkol sa power. Hindi lang naman ilang 20 volts o 110 volts, o hindi, meron din ekonomista. Dahil meron yan mga budget proposal or may mga project study na pag-aralan na mabuti. So kaya, ginawa natin ang good mix. Pagkatapos, in-improve natin yung sweldo. Para hindi na sila dependent doon kung saan man sila nanggaling. Mr. Speaker, naman si Madam Speaker. Mr. Speaker naman sa ni.
Papalit-palit.
Papalit-palit ba? Distinguished colleague, nagugulat ako kanina. Madam, ngayon, Mr. naman. Sorry, Mr. Sorry, distinguished colleague. Medyo nagulat lang ako. Akala ko nawala nakapula kanina eh. So, ganun po, Mr. Speaker.
Sige.
Pag-take out nila niyan, in-improve ang sweldo. In fact, ang sweldo nila, kalibel na doon sa judiciary, sa Associate Justice ng Court of Appeals. Mataas na po yun. Kasi binigyan natin sila ng quasi-judicial, pero pang quasi-legislative, pagkatapos ng desisyon nila, pwede sila mag-rule making. So, pag independent na sila, siyempre makita mo naman kung sa desisyon, doon pa lang sa pananalita niya, kung beholden pa siya doon sa pinanggalingan niyang Meralco, madali naman yun i-complain. Meron naman tayong mga safeguards dyan, Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleague.
Okay. Sige, Mr. Speaker, I think I have made the point, no, na mukhang may problema dito sa independence. Kapag requirement na galing sa sector mismo, no, yung sino mang magiging membro. Pero let me move on. Kasi sinasabi ng sponsor, well, kahit pa ganun, meron namang prohibitions. So let's go to Section 38C, the proposed amendments, prohibitions on the chairperson and the commissioners. Tama naman po yung sinabi dito ng sponsor. Within the duration of their terms, pag naupo na sila, may mga bawal. Hindi pwedeng maging employee or consultant, syempre, no, ng mga industry players. Basic yun. Holding any commercial or any pecuniary interest in any electric power industry participant in any capacity. So, kailangan mag-divest.
Opo, Mr. Speaker.
Do alam na natin, medyo madali yata ikuha yung mga pag-divest na yan. No? But anyway, sige. Holding any other office or employment, directly or indirectly practicing any profession, participating in any business, be financially interested in any contract with, etc., relating to the industry being regulated. So, more or less expected ang mga ganito. Dapat lang, minimum to. Di ba? Pero meron pang ganito. This applies to within 3 years from cessation of their service. Okay, so pagka during may mga bawal, no, hindi ka pwedeng empleyado pa rin.
Bawal, Mr. Speaker.
O meron kang financial interest dun sa energy sector. It just stands to reason, dapat ganun. Pero dito meron pa 3 years. Within 3 years after, for the chairperson and the members, they are prohibited from running for office in the election, taking up any employment or consultancy arrangement with any electric power industry participant, and personally appearing or practicing as counsel or agent on any matter pending before the commission. No? Okay. However,
the Speaker.
parang maganda, wow, okay, bawal pa rin. Pero nawala po dito, halimbawa, yung nawala na po rito yung prohibition on holding any commercial or any pecuniary interest in any electric power industry participant in any capacity. So, ibig sabihin, sige, habang nakaupo ka, wala ka dapat financial interest sa mga energy players. Okay? Pero, pagka wala ka na, tapos ka na, sa commission, mukhang pwede ka na magkaroon ng pecuniary interest sa mga energy companies. No? So, bakit nawala yun? Ibig sabihin, why am I bringing this up then? Ibig sabihin, that can be seen as a way of rewarding a commissioner. Diba? Sige, habang nakaupo ka dyan, wala kang interest sa energy companies, pero ibigay mo lang tong decision na to. Pag-retire mo, kami bahala sa'yo. Hindi pwede yun. Tama ba?
Kaya nga, pati retirement, Madam Speaker, inayos natin. Hindi lang yung sweldo nila na competitive doon sa judiciary, pati yung retirement nila.
Okay.
Tinanggal na natin yung JSIS provision dyan. Kasi mababa yun. So, ginawa natin at par doon sa judiciary yung retirement benefits nila. Kaya pag-retire nila, at least, meron silang makumkum na makimkim na pera para pag-uwi. Para yung 3-year prohibition,
Okay.
yung 3-year prohibition, talagang observe nila yon.
Well, pero wala nang prohibition on, immediately upon retirement, they can be given significant or substantial shares of stock. For example, that is not prevented in the provisions here.
It says any pecuniary interest in any power company. Kasama po yung shares of stock.
No. Tama po. Habang nakaupo kayo. Pero pagka umalis na kayo, wala pong ganong prohibition.
If you buy, Madam Speaker, from the stock market, nobody can prevent you.
Yun na nga. Well, pwede
Stock
naman,
market yun,
pero
Madam
pwede
Speaker,
naman
that
pong
is public
ipagbawal, di ba?
ownership.
Pwede naman ipagbawal, di ba? Madam Speaker?
Then maybe,
What
Madam
stops
Speaker, you
the
can introduce...
sponsor from introducing such a prohibition?
Maybe you can...
Further insulate.
Madam Speaker, my distinguished colleague, maybe you can introduce amendment.
okay. Perhaps.
No
Okay.
problem. Para pagbutihin pa natin itong ARC. At karangalan namin, Madam Speaker, nakasama namin dito yung Makabayan Block para ayusin itong ARC, Madam Speaker.
Okay.
Okay ba, distinguished colleague?
Ay, ibang usapan na po yun.
Yes, nga.
Okay. Ito po, may concern din tayo. Of course, well, essentially, pagka naipasa po ito, meron pong epekto on ERC personnel. So let us also discuss the possible impact. No? Ano po ba ang once may pasa ang batas? Meron kasing mga provision dito kaugnay sa possible retrenchment, di ba? Or early retirement. Tanggalan, in other words. Meron po bang ano po ba? Napag-aralan na po ba o na-discuss sa committee ano yung posibleng magiging epekto sa mga rank and file employees ng ERC kung mapasa ang batas na ito? Kasi kasama po sa batas, pinagsasubmit po ang pinalakas na ERC ng bagong organization plan. Diba? So kasama po doon yung possible retrenchment.
Walang possible retrenchment, Madam Speaker. Dahil mas dumami nga ang pera nila, dagdag pa sila ng tao eh. Distinguished colleague.
However, meron pong provision dito actually. Nasaan ba yun? There is, however, a provision regarding reorganization or retrenchment. Nandito po yun sa, dali lang. Ayun.
Sige, basta niya.
Ito po, sabi. The Commission shall conduct, I am reading page 5 of our
Page 5.
Page
Wala
5.
akong kopya rito, but if you can read it to me, Madam Speaker, mas okay yun.
So ito po yung sa una actually, it is in section 2, no? Page 5, it says here, the Commission shall conduct an assessment of the fitness of the skills and capabilities of the existing personnel. Based on the results of the assessment, the Commission may implement such movement in personnel to establish the new organizational structure, etc., etc. Tapos, meron po talagang provision, affected employees may opt for voluntary separation from service within 6 months from the effectivity of this act and shall be entitled to receive separation and early retirement and other benefits under applicable laws. So, meron pong voluntary essentially retrenchment o pagtanggal na mangyayari. Tama po ba?
Madam Speaker, distinguished colleague, siyempre,
Okay.
pag yung organization mo mayroong cancer, ibig ko sabihin, ilang empleyado dyan, pinababagalan lahat ang proseso. Ay, ikaw mismo, Madam Speaker, ikaw mismo, distinguished colleague, ay gusto mong tanggalin yon para gumanda ang takbo ng negosyo. Ganon lang yon. Ngunit, lahat ng empleyado ng gobyerno, Madam Speaker, ay mayroong security of tenure. Kaya mayroon din silang matatanggap. Kung i-retrench sila, Hindi naman yung basta-basta, Madam Speaker, na paalisin. Kaya nga, dinagdagan natin ng pera ng ARC para mapaganda nila yung kanilang organisasyon. If they think that their organization is starting to have difficulty in the performance of their different divisions, may pagkakataon silang magpalit ng mas aktibo, mas responsive, mas magaling na mga kawani upang tuntunan yung panibagong ARC. Kasi kung yun din ang i-hire nila, medyo laggard na yun, natanay ngayon na nakaupo lang, Madam Speaker. Kaya binigyan natin sila ng kapangyarihan para mag-restructure, para kumanda ang takbo ng ARC, Madam Speaker, distinguished colleague.
Madam Speaker, sana po, okay. Sana na po i-reconsider natin yung ginamit na salita ng sponsor. With all due respect to the sponsor. Nasabi nyo kasi parang cancer yung maaaring yung ibang mga miyembro ng organisasyon. Baka masyadong mabigat naman, ano. Naintindihan ko yung gusto nyo sabihin, pero sana wag ganon, in consideration of, lalo pa po, at ang mga problema ng ERC, hindi naman natin maaaring isisi lalo na sa mga rank and file employees, di po ba? No? So, ang mga problema fundamentally are related to policy. Okay? So, kaya yun po, isang nire-raise lang natin. Ngayon, okay, we move to, so, may serious concerns po tayo kaugnay sa composition ng board, no? Ang sinasabi natin, kahalip na maging independent, lalo pang matatali sa industriya, no? At sa mga interes ng pinakamakapangyarihan sa industriya ang ERC. Now we have concerns regarding certain key provisions here. Okay? Lalo pa, ang pinanggagalingan natin, siyempre, pangunahin ay ang interes ng ordinaryong consumer. Let me point out, ito may mga what I call the deemed approved provisions for certificates of compliance, COCs, and cost recovery applications. Halimbawa, Section 43, letter Q. Let me read po.
Team approved, Madam Speaker.
Yung deemed approved. Opo, may concern tayo rito. So, letter Q. Ito po.
Sige.
Act on applications for cost recovery and return on demand-side management projects. The ERC shall follow the timeline provided in Section 13 of RA 11234, and failure of the ERC to release its action on the application within the prescribed time frame shall deem such application approved. Okay, meron din ganyang provision on summary proceedings.
Una muna, Madam Speaker.
Okay, dun muna tayo. Dito muna tayo.
Una muna, Madam Speaker.
Yes.
Yung tauna, Madam Speaker, yung deem approved.
Yes.
Noong araw kasi, pag-submit mo ng petition doon, siyam-siyam pa yung schedule mo sa hearing, nakapila ka. Ngayon, pag yung nakasaad dyan na mga agenda, kung yun ang ibibigay mo sa ARC, mayroong timeline yan. Pag hindi nila aksyonan lang within 60 days, umuwi ka na, dali mo na yung, maski hindi nila pinirmahan, deem approved na yun. Ganon po, Madam Speaker. Distinguished sponsor. Next.
Yes, Madam Speaker, yun nga ang concern natin. This is actually, yung timeline na binabanggit dito is already provided in Republic Act 11234.
Yung
that is
Electricity Virtual One-Stop
Energy
Shop.
Virtual One-Stop
One-Stop
Shop Act. Okay. meron namang deemed approved provision doon. Sabi, sundin ang timeline, merong timeline na sinasabi, pagka may petition, para sa, ito yun, these are petitions involving cost recovered. In other words, presyo. Pag-set ng electricity rates. Di ba? Ang sinasabi po rito, merong timeline sa batas, kailangan ng ERC maglabas ng desisyon within the timeline. Pag hindi sinunod yan, deemed approved. So, pag hindi ginawa ng ERC ang trabaho niya at the proper pace, no, consumer ang talo, di ba? Kasi pabor na dun sa petition ng energy provider. Okay? This is not a new provision, nandiyan na yan. However, ano po ang bago dito? Ang bago po dito, kung titignan natin yung one-stop shop law, that deemed approved provision contains a proviso that exempts, ito po, let me read. This is Section 13 of the One-Stop Shop Act. Time frame. So sabi dito, failure of the mother agency and its attached bureaus, offices, and agencies at both the national and local levels, including GOCCs, to release its action on applications duly filed with complete supporting documents within the prescribed time frame shall deem such applications approved. So nandiyan na yun. Provided that this shall not apply to actions by the DENR and ERC on applications by fossil fuel-based technologies such as coal, natural gas, and oil. So ito actually yung tinatanggal ng proposed amendment. No? So, we are raising a red flag. No, gusto i-apply yung deemed approved particular para dito nga sa mga coal, natural gas, oil. O, di may problema na tayo dyan.
Pero, Madam
Precisely, ang pinakamalaking pinanggagalingan ng fuel mix natin ay ito pa rin. Diba? Yung mga fossil fuel-based energy sources. And that's why these were explicitly exempted from the deemed approved provision.
Speaker,
Ngayon, ang gusto gawin, tanggalin na rin po. No, so, again, magre-resulta na naman ito sa mas mataas na presyo ng kuryente sa halip na mas mababa. Yun po ang concern natin.
Oo.
Not to mention, of course, yung pinsala sa environment, the concerns with, global warming, CO2 emissions, no, na lalong ma-incentivize ang mga producers or providers using these fossil fuels, no?
Madam Speaker, distinguished colleague, kaya nga linimit natin, hindi lahat ng application pwedeng team approve.
Hindi nga po.
Nakalimit lang yan doon sa COC and other lesser things. Hindi lahat ng application kasi napakarami ang i-apply mo sa ERC. Rates, yung rate setting, yung application mo for napakalaking generation provider. Magkabit ka lang panibagong linya. Napakaraming bagay ang i-apply mo sa ERC. Linimit natin yung deem approved. Mga simple application lang yun, hindi lahat. Madam Speaker, distinguished.
Yeah, okay. Well, Mr. Speaker, Madam Speaker, I think I have made the point na gusto na i-extend yung deemed approved provision dun sa dating exempted, no, which is the fossil fuel-based energy providers. Okay, so again, ibig sabihin nun, mas mabilis na ang pagtaas ng kuryente pagka ganyan. Now, let me move on to another concern. Madam Speaker, Section 44C, regular and summary proceedings in the ERC. This is page 21. Cases filed before the ERC that require the exercise of its quasi-judicial and adjudicatory and quasi-legislative and rulemaking functions shall be decided through regular proceedings.
270 days yan, Madam Speaker.
Okay.
Yan ang time limit.
Provided, however, that cases related to contracts or submissions that are certified by the DOE pursuant to this Act and within the benchmark determined by the ERC, including power supply agreements, shall be decided through summary proceedings without need of a hearing, in accordance with the exercise of the ERC of its powers under Section 43W of this Act. Okay, and then provided further that other contracts or submissions that are not subject to benchmarking may be decided through summary proceedings na naman upon determination of the Commission and Bank. Ito po ang mga matinding anti-democratic and anti-transparency provisions. Summary proceedings na lang.
Tama yun, Madam Speaker. Pero if you read before that, naka-benchmark yun. Kahit meron tayong benchmarking. Kung yung application mo, yung benchmark mo ng rates ngayon, halimbawa, piso tayo sa labas, yung application mo, within that trend, piso rin. Bakit mo pa papatagalan, Madam Speaker, distinguished colleague? Summary approval lang yan, para wag nang tumagal. Kaya nga, mayroong benchmarking nakalagay dyan, Madam Speaker.
Okay. Dahil nabanggit ng sponsor yung benchmarking, di puntahan po natin yung provision on benchmarking, which is that would be sabi mismo rito, no? Ano ba yung benchmarking? 43W. Okay.
Madam Speaker, pwede ba pag binisaya, naubos na yung English ko eh.
Opo, hindi
With the
mo na tayo
permission of my distinguished colleague,
Madam,
Sir Dagook will translate. Magbibisaya lang ako, Madam Speaker. Naubos na yung Tracy ko ng English eh.
Okay.
The Secretariat might have a hard time translating.
Bisaya, Madam Speaker, oh. Bisaya na oh. Pag binisaya na ako, i-translate niya in English niya dito. Kapoy na ako in English, nahurot.
Can the Honorable
Okay.
Opinion speak Bisaya?
No, I wish I could, Madam Speaker. I cannot. So, dapat po, actually, it should be part of our rules. Kung gusto po ng sponsor, na meron tayong translator, ay dapat it should be provided.
Oo, pagbigyan
I
ng
understand.
sponsor, Madam Speaker, dahil uubos na talaga yung aking English.
Will you,
Sinapabilog yung aking English eh.
will you request the Committee on Rules to discuss that at the appropriate time? Honorable Opinion, can you wrap up your interpellation?
Well, ito po, ito may isa pang mayor na concern po ito. Section 44B, yung benchmarking. Dahil binanggit po ng sponsor, okay na to, may summary proceedings. Sabihin, hindi na magpapatawag ng full-blown hearing, gagrant na lang ng ERC for as long as pasok sa benchmark yung kanilang
Hindi
proposal.
sobra.
Okay.
Kung sobra, hindi sumari, Madam Speaker.
O, ngayon, Section 44B of this proposed bill nag-explain sa benchmarking. Let me read. Section 44B. Benchmark prices and rates. The ERC shall determine the benchmark for the range of prices and rates that are deemed reasonable for both the end users and the operations of generation, transmission, and distribution entities. Load density, sales mix, cost of service, delivery voltage, resource and fuel, location, and other technical factors shall be considered in the benchmark determination. The ERC shall publish the benchmark prices and rates which shall be regularly updated. Yun po yung sinasabi sa benchmarking. So sinasabi, maglalabas ang ERC ng benchmark rates. Okay? At kung pasok dyan, ay okay na. No? Summarily, let us grant the requests or petitions on rates. Anong problema? Dito na po papasok yung una nating ni-raise, yung composition mismo ng ERC, ng komisyon, na lahat sila manggagaling sa industriya mismo. O ano ibig sabihin nun? Lahat sila manggagaling sa industriya, ni isa wala representing ordinary consumers, ordinary citizens. Kaya pag-uusapan, deemed reasonable, that is deemed reasonable from the point of view of the industry itself. No, so, lahat ng member ng ERC, nanggaling kay Pangilinan, nanggaling kay Rason, nanggaling kay Aboitiz. Oh. Tapos ngayon, sila ang magtatakda ng benchmark. Naturally, their benchmarks will be according to what is yung kasiya-siya, no? Sa mga big industry players. So kaya po yan ang problema dito sa provisions on summary proceedings. No, na pasok sa benchmark, okay na yan. Ayan po, nako, recipe for faster and higher increases in electricity rates. Yan po ang mangyayari dito, Madam Speaker. No? Would the sponsor care to respond?
Madam Speaker, distinguished colleague, tama po kayo na iniingatan nga natin yon na huwag manggagaling dito sa mga power companies ang dapat maging mga commissioner ng ating ARC. Pero yung sinasabing deemed reasonable, ay yan po ay very subjective. And halimbawa, bigyan kita ng example, yung isang power generation na nasa isla, siyempre mas mahal yun kaysa nandito sa mainland. Kung ang mag-apply dito sa mainland, ang deemed reasonable nila ay piso. Ngunit doon sa isla, dahil inahakot mo yung fuel, papunta roon, ang deemed reasonable doon, sobra na yun piso. Makikita naman sa judgment ng mga komisyoner ng ERC, hindi sila dapat magkamali. Dahil pinagbigyan na nga natin, lilakyan na natin ng sweldo. Pagkatapos, yung retirement nila, gumanda pa. Equivalent doon sa Court of Appeals, ang rate nila. Kung magluko-luko pa sila dyan, di baka bayan black na yung pumunta doon. At Madam Speaker, bigyan ko na sila ng power para pati ako sasama na ron, mag-demonstrate kami. Pagdara na kami doon ng katakot-takot na demonstration placard na bumabaw na kayo dyan, Mr. ARC, bababaho na kayo. You no longer serve the interest of the Filipino consumer. Pwede ba yun, Madam Speaker, distinguished colleague? Sama ako sa inyo pag ganun ang ginawa ng ARC.
Well, thank you for that sentiment, Madam Speaker. Pero mahirap na po yan, naghahabol na lang. No? Regarding consumer protection, dahil binabanggit na po natin, ang problema po sa proposal na ito, talagang yung buong komisyon, instead of an independent regulatory body, will consist of energy insiders themselves. No? What about the consumer? Ito po, Section 41, Protection and Promotion of Consumer Interests. Okay? The ERC shall address and provide timely resolutions to consumer complaints and ensure adequate protection of consumer interests. The ERC shall establish procedures for determining legitimate representation of consumer organizations and the conduct of forum where consumers can express their concerns on policies and regulations outside the formal rule-making process. So ito po nakaka-insulto na po ang formulasyon kaugnay sa papel ng mga consumer. Bibigyan kayo ng forum. You can air your views, pero talagang dinidiin dito. But this is all outside of the formal rule-making process. So talagang saling pusa lang po kayo rito. Yan, may forum kayo. Pwede kayong magsalita dyan, pero hindi ito yung formal rule-making process. the formal rulemaking process, usap-usapan sa pagitan ng mga mga players sa industriya at saka yung mga dating tauhan nila. That is the formal rulemaking process under these proposed amendments, Madam Speaker. Kaya po, medyo nagra-rant po tayo dito ngayon. And finally, we're running on 50 minutes. So, let me also raise a final major concern here regarding the nolo contendere plea or provision.
Opo, Madam Speaker, go ahead.
Okay, ano ba yan? Section 46, subsection C. Dito, no? Offer of compromise. Any person or entity subject to an administrative proceeding in the commission that may result in the imposition of fines, refunds, and/or penalties pursuant to this section may enter a plea of nolo contendere in which such person or entity does not accept nor deny responsibility for the charges, but agrees to accept the obligation to pay fines, refunds, and/or penalties as if already found liable. The plea cannot be used against such person or entity to prove liability in a criminal action nor in another cause of action. Provided further that should the Commission accept the plea of nolo contendere, the fine, refund, and/or penalty to be adjudged for payment shall not be less than 50% of the corresponding fine, refund, and/or penalty for the subject offense. No? Tawag po natin dito, get out of jail free card. So kung may gross violations man ang mga energy players, halimbawa yung mga dati, di ba meron na yung usapin ng mga overcharging tapos ang tagal-tagal na hindi pa nire-refund. No? Ito meron ng provision. Sige, magbayad ka na lang. May discount pa. 50% na lang nung dapat mo bayaran. Tapos wala kang criminal liability. No? So, again, Madam Speaker, mukhang talagang inaalagaan at bine-baby ang mga, sa halip na ang protektahan ng mga consumer, ay talagang inaalagaan at pinoprotektahan ang interes ng mga malaking energy players na siya rin ang unahing dahilan kung bakit napakataas ng presyo ng kuryente sa ating bansa. Madam Speaker, Mr. Sponsor.
Madam Speaker, distinguished colleague, yung nolo contendere, I beg your indulgence, hindi ako abogado, pero naintindihan ko yung nolo contendere. Yung nolo contendere, mayroon pong similarity yan sa plea bargain. Ngunit, dito sa batas na ito, ay sinasabi namin na pag ikaw ay isang power provider at nagkamali ka, nahatawan ka ng penalty. Oy, halika rito, Mr. A, halika rito. At ikaw ay dapat magmulta ng ganito. Ito yung violation mo. Kung sasabihin niya, pwede ba na yung charge na yan, idaan ko na lang sa proseso na dito sa batas na ito. Ang nolo contendere, pinaka-minimum noon, magbabayad sa 50% without admitting that he is at fault. Yun po ang ibig sabihin nun. Alam natin yun, di ba? So, ito po ay mapapabilis naman yung proseso. So, halimbawa, ang multa mo 100 milyon. Pagkatapos nolo contendere ka, bayad ka ng 50 million. Depende po yan, Madam Speaker, distinguished colleague, kung tatanggapin ng ERC. Kung ang pagtanggap nila ng lower fine is detrimental to the Filipino consumer, ay hindi po yan tama. Pero kung yung pagtanggap nila ng fine na 50%, doon sa registered fine sana nung offender, hindi naman makakataas ng presyo ng kuryente, tatanggapin po yan ng ERC. Ganon po yan, Madam Speaker, distinguished colleague.
Well, Madam Speaker, precisely yun nga ang point, no? Binibigyan sila ng, sabi nga, get out of jail free card. Sige, magbayad ka, pero no admission of criminal or other liability. No, so, alam niyo po, mahaba ang kasaysayan globally ng mga korporasyon na wawasakin ng environment, tapos sabihin nila, oh, magbabayad na lang kami. Okay, bayad na lang, pero walang makukulong sa amin, ha? Okay, so that happens, di ba? Ito nga po yung problema kapag yung mga, halimbawa, merong energy provider, power generator, halimbawa, nakawasak ng kapaligiran, no? O paano yan? No contender eh. No criminal liability. O, yun po ang delikado rito, Madam
Speaker, kung ako naman yung ARC, ay hindi lang yung 50%. Kung winasak na yung kapaligiran niya, ayusin mo muna yan na power provider bago tayo mag-usap sa nolo contendere mo. Unahin mo muna yung pag-ayos ng kalikasan o yung kapaligiran mo, Madam Speaker, distinguished colleague.
Okay. Well, Madam Speaker, batay po sa ang layunin po ng interpellation na ito ay ipakita talaga ang mga delikadong probisyon, no? With all due respect to the sponsor. Pero dinidiin po natin, no, na sa halip na paboran ang ordinaryong consumer, ang ordinaryong mga Pilipino na naghihirap sa napakataas na presyo ng kuryente, no, na napakahalaga para sa makabagong pagbubuhay at makabagong pamumuhay at pag-unlad, no, ng mga individual na pamilya at ng ating bansa. Sa halip na mapalakas ang protection sa kanila ay lalo pong mapahigpit ang kontrol ng industriya na dominated ng ilang mga malalaking monopolyo. Nababanggit ko na sa interpellation ko yung mga big players dyan, no? Kaya po malakas po ang pagtutol natin, no, sa mga provision na ito. Maraming salamat po, Ginoong Sponsor, sa pagsagot sa aking mga katanungan. That ends my interpellation. Thank you.
Madam Speaker, thank you to our distinguished colleague. And to Madam Speaker, just a note to the interpellator, lahat po ng suggestion will take into consideration, and if he wants to introduce amendments on the floor, we can do that next hearing.